Okay, so we're going to continue with our systems of equations again today. We're going to look at explain 3, which is on page 193. We're going to try to get through these 3 or 4 examples in the class period. It's the exact same thing we did yesterday. So we're basically doing the same type of problems. We just have to find them inside the word problem, and that's really it. So you're going to be repeating and learning some of the same techniques we did yesterday. So you can use techniques from the previous examples to solve real-world problems. We're supposed to solve each problem. So a tour boat travels around an island in a pattern that can be modeled by this equation. So look, there's one equation. It looks like it's quadratic. Actually, it looks like a circle because we've got an x squared and a y squared. A fishing boat approaches the island on a path that can be modeled by the equation x minus 2y equals -8. Is there a danger of collision? If so, where? So we're going to write the systems of equations. So you write down the 2 equations. Looks like they're going for substitution. So we're going to solve the second equation for x. So to do that, they started by adding the 2y to both sides. And so they got this 3x equals 2y minus 8, and then they divided by 3. So they got this. All right, so now we're going to substitute what we got into the first equation. So this is our first equation, and so we're substituting in the 2y minus 8 over 3. The next thing we need to do is we need to square that. And remember, squaring it means write it twice. So I'm going to write it twice over here so you can see the mathematics or the algebra behind it here. So I multiply across the top, which means I FOIL. So 2y times 2y is this 4y squared. 2y times -8 would be -16y, and we have 2 of those for the outsides and the insides. So -16 and -16 is this -32. Then -8 times -8 is +64, and 3 times 3 is 9. Now, that looks awful right now, but it's not so bad because 9 goes into 36 4 times. So that's where they got this 4 here. That's the only thing they changed in that line. Next, you follow your instincts. We're going to distribute in the 4. So we distribute in the 4, you get 16y squared minus 128y plus 256. Now we're going to combine our like terms. So 16y squared and 25y squared is 41y squared. And then they went ahead and subtracted the 900 from both sides, which gave them -644. We know it's quadratic because we've got a squared as our highest exponent. So we've got to solve that. Those numbers look horrible. I agree with them. I'd use the quadratic formula. So they put in their b. So they did -128, which they turned to positive right away, equals 128 squared minus the 4 times the a value of 41 times the c value of -644, all over 2 times the a value, which is 41. Then they went ahead and did the arithmetic on that. They probably used their calculator. I would have too. And they got 122,000. And then they went, because this is a word problem, it's appropriate to use decimal points. So they went and put that in their calculator and went and found the decimal. So they found the decimal to be -2.70 and 5.82. So they say the collisions occur when y equals these 2 values. So in order to figure out the x values, okay, we have to plug back into one of the other equations. It doesn't matter which one you plug into. You could plug into this one, you could plug into this one, you could plug into this one, or you could plug into the solved one. So they chose to plug into the solved one. So they plugged in the -2.70. Multiplied by 2, they got -0.540, subtracted 8, -13.40, and then divided by 3. Same thing here. They plugged in the 5.82, multiplied by 2, got 11.64, subtracted 8, got 3.64, divided by 3, got 1.2, and then you have to rewrite them as coordinates. So these were the x values, so it would be -4.74 with the -2.70, and 1.21 with the 5.82. So these are the coordinates where the boats could collide. It's not a bad idea to write a concluding sentence on these because if you have to answer the question that was asked, and it says, is there a danger of collision? If so, where? So not a bad idea to answer that in a sentence. And then we also get our writing in for that. All right. So let's look at, sorry, right on me. So let's go ahead and look at example B. It's going to take me a couple of pages again, it looks like. Let's see. Let's see if it'll let me change colors. It won't let me do that right now. Nope. Okay. So the range of the signal from a radio station is bounded by a circle described by this equation, and a stretch of highway near the station modeled by this equation. At which points, if any, does a car on a highway enter and exit the broadest range of the station? So we've got our two equations. Write them down. Okay. It looks like probably substitution is going to be better because I have a coefficient of 1 on this. But I got to get the y by itself, so I'm going to, they're writing here, right here, they're adding 15 to both sides. So I would probably rewrite that. Oops, sorry. It went totally crazy, didn't it? I would probably write that as 1/20th x plus 15. So then we're going to take this and we're going to substitute it in for x in the first equation. So we're plugging in, I'm sorry, for y, they says that's a typo, isn't it? For y in the first equation. So 1/20th x plus 15. So what we need to do is we need to FOIL that thing. So let's write that out over here since we've got the space. And look and see what that is FOIL. Since it is ugly, it has got the fractions in it. So 1/20th times 1/20th would be 1 over 400, because 20 times 20 is 400. And that would be x squared. Then you'd have 15 over 20x plus 15 over 20x plus 225 for the outsides, the 15. This plus this would be 30 over 20x, which would reduce to 3/2. Okay, so let's write it pretty over here. So 1 over, you're going to have to write small, 400x squared plus 3/2 x plus 225. Okay, now let's see. I'm going to work smart and not hard. I need to get a coefficient on my x squareds. So I know that right now I need the common denominator of 400. So I'm going to make this 400 over 400. So 400 plus 1 would be 401 over 400 for my coefficient on my x squared. It is not pretty at all. It is quadratic because it's squared. So we need to go ahead and subtract the 2025 to the other side. And we end up with 1800. All right, then, remember we learned this trick in class yesterday. They went through and they multiplied everything by the LCD. So multiply, that's not staying, multiply by LCD. Our LCD is 400, and I'm sorry, it's not letting me switch colors right now. So I'm going to multiply everything by 400. Oops. Totally hit a button. Sorry about that. Multiply by 400. Oops. Well, maybe it'll let me switch colors now. Cool. All right, by 400 by 400. So when they do that, these 400s cancel. I just get 401. 2 goes into 400 200 times. So 200 times 3 is 600. And 400 times 1800 is 720,000. Okay, we're definitely not doing a magic X. So again, we would use the quadratic formula. Okay, you're going to use your calculator to help you out. Their B value was 600, so negative 600 plus or minus 600 squared minus 4 times the A, which was 401, times the C, which is negative 720,000, all over 2 times the A value, which was 401. They put that in their calculator, did all the arithmetic, got 1,155,240,000. Again, they did the arithmetic there, and then you put it into your calculator again. Hopefully you'll actually take the time and do that, and maybe pause the video, do it, see if you get the same numbers I do. It was negative 41.63 and 43.13. Those were the y values, so we need to substitute them into here to get the x values. I'm going to guess I have a whole nother screen for that. No, apparently I don't. They actually let us write out the work. Okay, so there should be some space, hopefully, for you to do the work. So you got y equals 1/20 times negative 41.63 plus 15. And you know, I would probably hit the buttons on my calculator. I would just probably put that into the graphing calculator all at one time. In fact, if you give me a second, I can do it with you. So let me get my graphing calculator out here, because I don't think we need intermediate steps when our calculator will do it for you. Give it a second to load. It's coming. Maybe. Here it comes. Sorry, you can't skip through it. Come on. Okay. So it's coming. Slowly but surely. Okay. So here's our graphing calculator. I'm going to close that up. Calculate should come up and just, okay. So you're going to hit your scratch pad to do your calculations if you don't know how to do that already. So I'm going to do everything in scratch pad, and I'm going to go over to the little calculator piece, not the graph piece. And we're going to type in, we're going to do 1/20. So I hit Control, Divide, and that gives me the 1/20. So I can make it look exactly the way it does on my paper. And then it was times. So if you want to hit the times, you can. You could also just probably hit parentheses. Negative 41.63. Negative 41. Oops, too much. 41.63. And then we're supposed to add 15 to it. So I'm going to go plus 15 and hit enter. And there's my decimal point. And then the cool thing about the calculator is you can go ahead, if you click on there, I can hit Control C, and then that copies it, and then I'm going to hit Control V, that pastes it, and all I have to do is highlight right in here, get rid of what's there, and type in my other decimal point, which was 43.13, and I've got my other answer. And the upside of that is you make make less mistakes actually doing the work. So let's go ahead and write those down. So one of them was, this was the 12 point, it rounded to 9.2, and then y equals 1/20 times our other number, 43.13 plus 15, and that one was 17.16. And then we have to write them as x and y values. I just re-answer the question. At which points, if any, does a car on the highway enter and exit the broadcast range of the station? So I'd probably just go ahead and write that in a sentence. Do they have that? They look like they have that for you, actually. Mine, for somehow, I didn't get it copied and pasted over. So the car will be within the radio station's broadcast area between, and you're going to fill in the blank, with negative 41.63, 12.92, and then 43.13, 17.16. All right, we're going to try two more. See if we can get them in. So we've got an asteroid traveling toward Earth on a path can be modeled by this. It approaches a satellite in orbit on a path that can be modeled by this. What are the approximate coordinates of the points where the satellite and the asteroid might collide? Guess what? We're going to set up a systems of equations. So if you really want to rewrite it, if that makes sense for you on your paper, to kind of get it on your paper, because I'm guessing there's not enough space on the bookwork, go ahead and rewrite it. So minus 7, and then the x squared over 49 plus y squared over 51 equals 1. The good news is it's already solved for us, so we should just use substitution. I'm going to go ahead and plug it in, okay? Even though it looks horrendous right there, okay? So we're just going to have to deal with some of this ugly fraction work here. So x squared over 49 plus 1 over 28x minus 7 squared over 51 equals 1. I'm going to follow the algebra rules that I know. The algebra rules that I know say, hey, we know we can square that. Okay, so to square it, I have to write it twice and FOIL it out. So I'm going to do that off to the side. So 1 over 28 times 1 over 28. Sorry, I'm going to have to get my calculator for that one here. 28 times 28 is 1. So it would be 1 over 784x. And then we would have negative 7 over 28x and another negative 7 over 28x. And then 7 times 7 is 49. Okay. So we're going to put, these guys would reduce actually. Let's see if we can get them reduced. Sorry, I'm going the wrong way. 7 goes into 28 4 times. So I really have 1/4 and 1/4, which would be 2/4. 784x minus 2/4 x plus 49. All right, let's see if we can put that back over here. So we've got x squared over 49. I'm going to show an extra step that I probably wouldn't if I was actually in class today. So 1 over 784x, the x is the coefficient, it really goes in the numerator, minus, I'm going to reduce that to 1/2, x plus 49 over 51 equals 1. I missed a squared, didn't I? There should be a squared on that. Okay, this right here is a fraction. In order to get rid of that fraction, we would flip and multiply. So really what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the line because I don't want to confuse you. So plus 1 over 51, and I'm going to multiply that or distribute that into the 1 over 784x squared minus 1/2 x plus 49. Okay, it is really ugly. Okay, so we're distributing in the 1 over 51. So we get x squared over 49 plus, I'm just going to put that x squared from here in the top. It's both as the numerator. 51 times 784, I'm going to guess is, because I'm reading the book's work now, 39984. And then 51 times negative 1/2 is negative 1 over 102. I don't know why it keeps doing that. X. And then 51 times 40, 1 over 51 times 49 would be negative, it would be 49 over 51 equals 1. They found a least common denominator. Interesting. Okay. I would probably find a least common denominator too if I could. Let me see really quick if we take 39984 divided by 102. That works. 39984 divided by 51. And then 39984 divided by 49. Perfect. Okay. This number here, I just checked it in my calculator, happens to be the least common denominator. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply everything by that 39984. 39984. 39984. And the way that I checked that was I took each one of those denominators and I divided it into that. 39984. Okay, so 49 goes into this one here 817 times. No, sorry, 816 times. So 816x squared. This one just goes down to 1, so plus x squared. This one, 102, goes into that number 392 times. And then 51 goes into that number 784 times, and you've still got to multiply by 49 equals 1. Oh, sorry. We have to multiply this one by the 39984, so you get 39984 there. Okay. When we multiply, I'm going to go ahead and erase this scratch work over here so we can write over here. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So when we multiply this guy out, and we could have probably done that all in one step. You get 816x. Oh, sorry. Ooh. I don't know what happened. 1, 2. Okay. I lost half my work. How did that happen? Let's see if I keep it and it comes back. Nope, apparently it erased. Okay, so we had the line. Let me just rewrite the line. Okay, so the line that we had down there at the bottom, you need to rewind the video and get the line, is 816x squared plus x squared minus 392x plus 49 times 784, that's an 84, equals 39984. All right, so we're going to combine like terms. We've got 816 plus the 1x squared is 817x squared minus 392x, and then this 49 times this 784, hopefully you check it in your calculator, is minus 1568. No, it's not. Okay, hang on. Got to fix that. That's what we get when we move the big number over. So let me write out the number because they skipped a step. So 49 times 784 is, I need a pen, not an eraser. So 38416 equals the 39984. We're going to go ahead and move that over. So 3982x, we're going to move that over, and we end up when this should have been positive. Okay. When we subtract that over, you end up with negative 1568 equals 0. From here, we would do the quadratic formula, and while we're doing this, I might as well show you how to put it in the calculator nicely. So let's put it into our quadratic formula, and then we're going to hit some buttons. Okay. So we got that x equals negative b negative 392 plus or minus the square root of the b 392 squared minus 4 times 817 times the negative 1568 all over 2 times 817. Okay. If it was me, I would put this all into the calculator at one time. Okay. And then we'll do our copy and paste thing to get that number. So let's practice doing that. To erase your calculator, you can hit Doc and B. And that will erase it. All right, I know I'm going to need a fraction, so I'm going to start with Control Divide. And then we're going to put in the 392. I'm not going to use the, I'm not going to use the double negative. We already can do that ourselves. And I'm going to do the positive version of this first. So plus, and then square root is above the squared. So I do Control square root of the negative 392 squared. So parentheses, negative 392, close your parentheses, and then squared, just hit the squared button, minus 4, and you can just use parentheses, you don't have to do times, 817, I'm going to close the parentheses, and then I'm going to open another one, negative 1568. And then the denominator is 2 and then a parentheses, and 817. So you should try that in your calculator. You should try to get it in the same way I did. You can always pause and rewind if you need to. I'm going to hit enter. There's one of my numbers. Okay. And then I'm going to do my copy and paste. So I get it highlighted and do Control C, maybe. And then click in this little cursor guy here and hit Control V. And then I'm going to switch this plus sign to a minus sign, and then that gets me my second answer. All right, and then from there, I still need to actually calculate my x and my y values. Or my, let's see, that was the x value. I still need to calculate the y value. I think this is going to be the last one we're going to do, because I don't think we need to do another one of these. So our two x values turn out to be, and they use little approximately symbols because they're not exactly perfect, 1.65 and negative 1.17. Then we need to substitute back into something. I'd probably go into that one there and find the y values. So we do y equals 1 over 28 times 1.65 minus 7. And then, oh, please tell me it's still there. There it is. Okay. Y equals 1 over 28 times negative 1.17 minus 7. I'm going to let you put that in the calculator. I already showed you how to do that once. The final answers that they got are negative 6.94 and negative 7.04. Okay. Then we're going to just say that what are the approximate coordinates of the points where the satellite and asteroid might collide? So the satellite and asteroid might collide at, and then list the 2 points. Okay, so one of them was an x value of 1.65 and a y value of, sorry, it keeps jumping, negative 6.94. And then the other one is a y value of negative 0.704. And I'm sorry. That was the y value, not the x value. I apologize. So let me fix that. Negative 1.17 and negative 7.04. All right, I think that's enough for today. I don't know why it keeps jumping pages on me. Although the next problem looks like it's about a circus. I think we can go ahead and skip that one. Although it's probably the easiest one of them all. It is. It factors. All right, so let's see what we're going to do here. I definitely want you to do number 12 to finish up your notes. Yeah, let's just do number 12. So you guys can just, we don't need to do elaborate 10 and 11, just do 12. Okay, and that finishes up your notes for this section.